December 20th, 2023.
Seeing it's 6:30, we will call this final county board meeting of 2023 to order. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Ronnie Bush.
Here.
Samuel Newton.
Here.
Luann Hayes. Here. Casey Anthony. William Hadley.
Here.
Jim Hurt.
Here.
Kurt Copley.
Here.
Adam Modero.
Here.
Larry Jogers.
Here.
Brooke Deininger. Scott Helms.
Present.
Jackie DeMeester. Here. Nicole Baker.
Here.
Steve Frick. Ryan Grant.
Present.
Tim Whalen.
Yes, ma'am.
13 present, 3 absent.
Very good. Mr. Jokers, would you please lead us in the prayer and Ms. Hayes in the pledge?
Dear Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you for a beautiful day. We just thank you for the reason for the season, that we would take a few moments and think about what you provided in December here, Jesus' birth. We just also ask you to help us talk through these opportunities for the county, make the proper decisions that would benefit everyone in the county, and we just ask you for peace and cooperation at this time. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
By Mr. Bush. Is there a second?
I'll second.
By Mrs. Hayes. Any discussion on the agenda? Mr. Brandt. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to amend the agenda tonight by moving the 4 items from Public Works 23-27 through 23-30 up to the consent agenda and make it item C.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
By Mr. Jogers. Before we open that up for discussion, do you see any issue with moving those forward to the consent agenda?
No. If any of them are going to be controversial, then I would assume the person who has an issue with it would have it removed from the consent agenda.
Sure.
If no one has an issue with it, then they would be non-controversial, and I think they could go on the consent agenda.
Okay, so we will open it up for discussion on the amendment. Is there any?
Was there a second?
Yes, second by Mr. Jogers. Okay, seeing no discussion, all those in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The amendment passes. All those in favor of the agenda as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to the consent agenda, is there any item A or B that any board member would like to have removed? Or C, I guess, we'll add that. Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Mr. Whalen, is there a second?
Second.
By Mrs. Baker, is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Tim Whalen.
Yes.
Ronnie Bush.
Yes.
Samuel Newton.
Aye.
Luann Hayes.
Aye.
William Hadley.
Yes.
Jim Hurt.
Aye.
Kurt Copley.
Yes.
Adam Modero.
Aye.
Larry Jogers.
Aye.
Scott Helms.
Aye.
Jackie DeMeester. Nicole Baker.
Aye.
Ryan Grant.
Aye.
A, motion carries.
All right, thank you very much. Is there any public comment? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to the presentation by Andrea Schultz-Winter from Greater Freeport Partnership. If you'd like to come up, please.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you for inviting me. Do you want to just advance here? Good evening. My name is Andrea Schultz-Winter, and I'm the Executive Director for the Greater Freeport Partnership. Thank you for inviting me here to give an update this evening. Tonight will be a brief presentation about the partnership's formation, what's at the heart of the organization's mission, highlights from the fourth quarter,
what's upcoming in 2024, and what you can expect as county board members to see from us in the future. So, many in the room were not county board members when the partnership was formed. The partnership was formed in 2018, largely in part because the city of Freeport wanted to stop funding 4 separate organizations. Those organizations were the Northwest Illinois Development, or NIDA, Freeport Chamber of Commerce, the Stephenson County Convention and Visitors Bureau, Freeport Downtown Development Foundation. The partnership entered into contract with the county in June of 2018, and the scope and focus of that contract was dictated to include the services these 4 organizations previously performed: economic development, business development, and business support services, tourism, attraction and marketing, and community events. Beyond financial savings, merging these organizations created operating efficiencies, aligned missions, and reduced confusion by creating one organization, one voice, one mission. Economic development has and always will be at the center of everything we do. The partnership's economic development efforts fall into many categories that are intricately tied together and need to work in tandem to form a thriving local economy. Businesses need workers to operate, and the workforce wants to live in communities with beautifully designed spaces and a high quality of life. To grow our economy, existing businesses need to expand on developable sites or redeveloped buildings, and new businesses need to be established. Moving the needle on economic development requires continuous, synchronized efforts in all areas of our focus: business retention and expansion, business attraction, design and placemaking, site development, workforce development, tourism and events, entrepreneurial support, and quality of life. The partnership cannot do this work alone. That is why we are committed to continuous collaboration with our business, education, and government partners, so Stephenson County becomes the destination and continues to be the destination of choice to live, work, and play. We have not finalized our 4th quarter report, but tonight I will show some highlights from the last couple of months. We continue to build relationships with landowners and developers on potential developable sites. This work is a key priority, not only to attract new businesses, but in retaining existing businesses. As existing companies grow, they need places to expand. Over the past couple of months, I've met with 2 property owners and toured their sites or buildings. This is very helpful for us to understand what is likely to be, could be developed there, what other potential development could go there if utility gaps were also closed. In the last 90 days, we received 11 requests for information, or RFIs, from Intersect Illinois, which is the state's marketing and business attraction arm. We were able to respond to submit proposals to 3 opportunities. Each company looking to make an investment has specific criteria regarding land, location, utilities, workforce, existing vacant space that must be met in order to submit a response for evaluation. Recently, the majority of RFIs are stemming from the electric vehicle or alternative energy sector. In the past 90 days, we've also worked with 2 investor groups to bring new restaurants to Freeport. Look for these in 2024. Over the last several months, we've been working with a food manufacturer who plans a phased expansion over the next several years. We're connecting their team to state incentive programs, local and regional workforce programs and contacts, as well as exploring innovative ideas to deal with their waste streams. In relationship to workforce development, we continue to work with a value-add ag manufacturer looking to develop an apprenticeship program. We've held 5 human resource roundtable meetings over the past year, giving human resource professionals up-to-date information on regulations and legislation and recruitment and retention tactics. The partnership continues our work as a small business navigator, promoting the state's Back to Business grant program. In the last round of grants, 21 Stephenson County businesses were awarded grant dollars. That past program was concentrated to focus on hotels, restaurants, and art-based businesses. The state of Illinois recently published their 2022 tourism impact statistics. The numbers on the screen and that I will quote to you tonight are for Stephenson County specific. In 2022, over $50 million in revenue was generated from tourism-related spending. This is a 9.3% growth over the previous year. The total revenue figures include hotel spending, food and beverage, recreation, trail, and transit received from visitors who live over 50 miles from Stephenson County. That's how they determine that it's a visitor. Additionally, 500 people in the county are employed in the tourism industry, generating $20 million in wages. In regards to marketing, we've received a $15,000 marketing grant from the Illinois Office of Tourism for the Partnership's Be a Trailblazer campaign. This campaign was marketed to people over 50 miles away, and from our geofencing software, we saw a return on that investment on this effort as there was a correlation of visitors to Stephenson County from the areas targeted with this marketing campaign. As we enter the fourth quarter, our marketing efforts have focused on local holiday shopping. We have been able to increase our Shop Local and Partnership Cash campaign thanks to a Compeer grant via the Foundation of Northwest Illinois. Additionally, we executed 13 public and 1 member events in 2023. Each event has its own attendance, its own audience, and goals. Depending on the event, the goals are quality of life, tourism attraction, which corresponds to hotel stays, or to generate sales in the county. What's ahead for 2024? In January, we will launch the Business Academy for Small Businesses and Entrepreneurs, or BASE Camp. It is an opportunity for aspiring entrepreneurs and small businesses to learn more about the important elements of business ownership. Attendees are by professionals. As an additional incentive to complete all 5 classes, graduates will be offered an opportunity to compete in a business pitch competition for the potential win of $2,000 in cash prizes to help grow their business. Registration information can be found on our website and social media channels. The partnership will continue to serve as a small business navigator, helping local businesses apply for the next new state grant opportunity called the New Biz program. This is currently operating right now. Grant applications are open and we're promoting this. This program is geared to businesses that were launched in 2020 or 2021 and remained in operation during the pandemic, but have not been eligible for other federal or state-related programming since they were not operational prior to the pandemic. We are planning and scheduling our first round of business retention visits. These are meetings with primary employers to help us understand the pinch points they're experiencing in their businesses and where we can help and connect them with additional resources. Site development is continuous work, and we will continue to meet landowners and building owners to help us hone strategies for development and future land use. Planning for the 2024 tourism campaign and events is already underway. The tourism season and major events begin in early spring, and our intention is to continue to provide the best experience possible for visitors and residents. Internally, the partnership has also undergone transition this last quarter. We will be looking to hire 2 currently vacant staff positions, one in administrative support, the other one my previous role as the development director to do development work. The board and staff will undergo strategic planning process. We will also revisit our mission and vision statements. We have formed a Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, Belonging Committee, or DEIB committee, to help us create an inclusive statement to guide our work. And lastly, the partnership is transitioning to a new customer relation management, or CRM software, to better serve and communicate with our partners and members. What you can expect to see from us. I will be reporting monthly to the Planning and Development Committee and give quarterly presentations to all of you here at the County Board that will be reflective of identified goals. All County Board members are partnership members and should be receiving the following: our weekly Tuesday member newsletter, which provides business-to-business communication, our weekly event guide that highlights events that are happening in Freeport and Stephenson County, and new in 2024, we will be distributing a monthly marketing message. We will be providing you with information so you can help us spread the word to your constituents and partners. At the beginning of each your business or organization. Examples of what will be included are a monthly calendar of events, editorial blog of things to do in the county, posters for events or educational programs, graphics and videos to share on your video screens, and more. And lastly, on behalf of the Partnerships Board of Directors, Partnership staff, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you for the opportunity to talk with you all tonight, and we look forward to working with all of you in 2024.
Thank you very much. Anyone have any questions? Mrs. Hayes.
Yes, hi Andrea, thank you for that update.
How are you?
Good. I have a couple questions.
Sure.
The tourism numbers that you gave,
Yes.
how are those measured?
How are those measures? The state provides, they go through, I guess it was for 2022, so it's always kind of in arrears. And the state looks at revenue that's been generated. They calculate numbers overall, and then they look at each county. And they're looking a lot of times at retail sales, tax information, things like that, hotel stays. They can generate revenue dollars based upon the number of hotel stays and so on and so forth.
Okay. And then you talked about the geofencing so that you know that people are coming in from out. How do you do that?
Through a program that we have a subscription with called Placer, which allows us to do just that geofencing. How it works is that we basically draw a line on a map, and that it tracks cell phone data. So oftentimes when you download an app and you get an opportunity to, it tracks your location via that app that's on your phone. So obviously the information that we get is all in aggregate. I don't know anyone's cell phone usage or where it goes specifically, but it does help us understand who is coming in, how long they're staying, where they came from, and where they're going to next.
So like if you're targeting like an 847 area code, which is the Chicago suburbs,
Yes.
anytime someone with an 847 cell phone comes into the area, you're counting them as a tourist.
Correct, depending upon the length of stay. So it does track. So if, let's say, someone from that area code has then come to Stephenson County, but they're here for over a length of time, and I would have to look back at if it's 2 weeks, they sometimes start looking at them like they've moved, right? So they're a new resident. So they do look at the length of how long someone is staying, and if I live in 61032 and I work in 61032, so it doesn't make any difference in terms of that, but it looks at kind of where you came from. I don't think I'm explaining this very well. So
I'm just concerned because, like, my husband has a 773 Chicago area code on his cell phone. He goes to Rockford every day to work. So every time he comes back and forth to Freeport, he's being counted as another tourist. That's my concern.
Oh, sure. It does look at that sort of historical data. So if that is like commute data, and if it's happening every day, then it looks like that it's not counting him as a tourist. So he's doing that habitually, so it would not count him as a tourist. It kind of looks at your historical tracking. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else?
I'll come right back to you.
Okay, that's fine.
Mr. Hart.
Just a quick question.
Sure.
You mentioned, was it the Trailblazer program?
Be a trailblazer. Yeah.
And you mentioned the areas that we're targeting. Could you tell us a little bit about where those areas are? And maybe
I will give you general. If you want specifics, I'm going to follow you back up tomorrow and get information from
Just
Nicole.
general.
But a lot of the collar counties, so suburbs, looking at the Madison area, Milwaukee area. Those would be mainly where they're targeting from. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
I just have a last quick question.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Do you have any statistics on the growth of the events from prior year to, if we're using 2022 now, from 2021, that would be a little soft. But when do you get those, to be able to compare to see what the increase of growth is for year over year?
Sure. So great question. That's been really helpful for our geofencing software because many of the events we have, such as Music in Chicago, we do have attendance numbers because there's an admission fee. But some of the events, let's say Arctic Ale or Wine and Witches or things like that, where we don't have a cruise night, looking at that because there's no gate entrance per se, we can look at that geofencing software and see, look at that date and time, and we can look back historically a number of years too. So in terms of, I'm not going to be able to quote you specifically on it, but we can look back at historical events if you're looking at certain ones.
Yeah.
We do always track and look at, again, each event has a specific goal. So I would say Brewfest would be one that we're specifically targeting people who are glad to have residents participate, but people to come from outside the community, and hopefully that involves a hotel stay and lengthens their time in the community. So we do look at the geofencing software for that and see that there was an increase in people who came from outside the community to the event.
Do you collect zip codes when they register? Because that's a gated admission. You should be able to tell exactly.
We do via Eventbrite. We do, yes, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be interested to see what the year over year and what your potential or what your goal is for this next year.
Sure.
Percentage of increase.
And it's been very helpful to see if we have a goal for an event, are we meeting that goal? If not, how do we adapt the event to do a better job? So it's making us make more strategic decisions.
Okay, so thank you.
All right. Anyone else? All right, thank you very much, Andrew.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Well, as I sit here tonight, providing the final chairman's report for 2023, I want to thank all of you, my fellow board members, for coming together on a great many projects that we had in 2023 that has provided a solid foundation for us in 2024. So often we only hear about or focus on some of the things that didn't happen or didn't occur that we would have liked. So I wanted to mention a few of those accomplishments that we did have in 2023. We as a board opted into a new class action lawsuit in the spring that will allow Stephenson County to help combat the opioid addiction problem that we have in Stephenson County. We as a board provided additional funding to Mavis for the purchase of 2 new hazmat seats, which doesn't directly impact the county, but it does the partnership that we have with Mavis. We added a social service administrator at the sheriff's office for the first time ever. We crafted a much-needed interfund loan policy. We have aggressively started to tackle the IT needs of this county, and in 1 year alone have achieved more than all the previous years combined. And I really want to thank Nate Louie for his leadership on that project. It's just been head and shoulders above anything that we've had in the past. We've approved code that will allow for the creation of a code hearing unit that will finally allow the county to address many of the code violations that residents of this county have endured for far too long. This board has also done what was extremely painful but necessary in approving the funding to finally, and I want to stress finally, rebuild McConnell Road. And we should all be very proud for that. I look forward to 2024 because a first-year chairman, 6 new board members, and 10 veteran board members all came together to approve one of the most ambitious budgets in years while keeping our tax levy flat. We should be all very proud of that. I'm excited to finally have the funds necessary to repair and remodel this building, the courthouse, which has been neglected for a long time. This board has approved funding to better staff many of the often neglected departments within the county. This board also found a way to renew our very rich healthcare plan to help retain all of our good employees. And probably what I'm most proud of is we as a board came together for the creation of Stephenson County's first ever crime suppression unit. that's going to aggressively fight the trafficking of people, guns, and drugs that flow in and out of Freeport. So I want to thank you all for your efforts in 2023. I look forward to working with each and every one of you in 2024. And I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas. So with that, we will move to action items. Move to finance first. Mr. Whalen, you do not have any action items. Do you have any information out of your committee?
Yes, sir, Mr.
Chairman,
Chairman.
the only thing that I would mention at the, we had a opportunity to review the prioritization of the nursing center claims and the process, and at the behest of Mr. Coplain, we moved that back over to nursing, so that will no longer be going to finance. Just FYI.
Okay, anything else?
That'll be.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Coplain, you have a few action items.
Yes, Chairman, I have 2 action items. The first is the approval of a resolution to amend the number of deputies authorized for the sheriff. It's a short resolution, so I'll just read it here. Pursuant to Chapter 55, Section 5/3-6008 of the Illinois compiled statutes, whereas the county board is authorized to establish the number of deputies that the sheriff is allowed, and whereas the sheriff has demonstrated to the county board that 2 additional deputy sheriffs will add to the general safety and order of the county and its citizens, and whereas the county board supports those actions to improve the general public safety and order of the county and its citizens, and whereas the county board has already included funding in the 2024 fiscal year budget for the hiring of 2 additional deputies to the sheriff. Now therefore be it resolved that the county board of Stephenson County hereby authorizes the sheriff to increase his allowance for law enforcement deputies by 2, thereby is increasing his total law enforcement deputy sheriff contingent from 27 to 29 deputies. Make a motion to approve the resolution.
Second by Mr. Brandt. Discussion. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please take roll?
Kurt Coplain,
Aye.
Adam Monteiro,
Aye.
Larry Jogers,
Aye.
Scott Helms,
Aye.
Jackie DeMeester,
No.
Nicole Baker,
Aye.
Brian Brandt,
Aye.
Tim Whalen,
Yes.
Ronnie Bush,
Aye.
Samuel Newton,
Aye.
Luann Hayes,
Aye.
William Hadley,
Aye.
Jim Hart,
Aye. Aye.
12A, 1 nay, motion carries.
All right, very good. Your next item, Mr. Coplain.
Yes, will be approval of qualified vendor for professional design build services for the HVAC and mechanical system improvements at the Stephenson County Jail and Courthouse. I'll make a motion to approve this, and if we get a second to have Sheriff Stovall come to the front and explain.
All right, we have a second by Mr. Newton. Sheriff, mind coming up to the podium, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to start off by saying that I do not envy State's Attorney Larson, as he's worked very hard with me the last few days, and Mr. Staple from Fair Graham. This is a very confusing, very complicated process that we are finding out. What we're here for tonight is to take a project that we have that has been drafted by Fair Graham, and you all, I believe, got this in your packet, just like this. This is the packet we would like to put out for proposal to any vendors that would like to participate in the HVAC systems of the Sheriff's Office, which include the courthouse and the jail. What we've done with Fair Graham, as they were the voted vendor for this facility project, is we considered moving this project to a professional design build. A professional design build by statute definition, it means a delivery system that provides responsibility within a single contract for the furnishing of architecture, engineering, land surveying, and related services as required, and the labor, materials, equipment, and other consideration services for this project. So what we want to do first is get a qualified vendor to bid on this project and show us their qualifications. Once they have submitted their bids for their qualifications, Fair Graham will take those qualifications, and they will have them scored by professionals in a scoring matrix that is also within this request for qualification. As I've stated in my other committees, the finance and the full board, the intent for this project is to approve a qualified company and move forward with the pricing phase of this project. It's a two-phase project where we get the qualifications first, and then we talk about the pricing. As you remember, I had an audit done earlier in this year with Fairground who went in and they audited our buildings, saw what needed to be done either immediately, within the 1 to 2 years, 3 to 5 years, or 5 years to 10 years. They have prices that they feel they're comfortable with. Fairground has those prices. They have not been disclosed. What we have talked about in the committees and the board that I've talked about before is we would then take the qualified company that averages the highest score first and have them do a competitive pricing. They would submit the pricing to Fairground, and Fairground would see if that was a reasonable amount, or if they're too high or too low. If they're too high, we have the right to remove them and go on to the number 2 ranked company in the list. If that would happen, the same thing would happen. We would take a pricing quote for them and make sure that they're approved by what Fairground has to compare. At any time, we can remove the company if we don't feel that the prices are fair. Let's move on to say if the prices are fair, what we would want to do next is then we would bring that information to the board. It looks like into the March meeting, as I look at the calendar to figure this out with all of the terms that we have to put on this qualification request. In March, we would have a price amount that would coincide with the funds that have been allocated for this project, and we would get that approval. Once we get that approval, then we would move forward and establish that team with whoever the vendor would be to complete the project. The confusing part and the complicated part that we've been going through for the last few days is there's a list of things that we have to do in order to make this fair for everybody. Working with Fairground, working with the state's attorney's office, I'm not in this by myself. As I stated early in my term, this project I knew had to get done and I didn't want to have anything to do with it. Well, I still have to have something to do with it as I found out, but I can't do it alone. And even with the professionals, we can't do it together. We have to bring a legal mind in, and I really appreciate what Carl's done for us for the last 3 days. We would like to get an approval for this qualification, a request for qualification with an amendment that says that we want to get everything approved by law. Now, we don't have it written up exactly the way we needed it to be as of this date, but it's about 95% accurate. We would look for a motion to have this approved with the amendment that the things that were missing be put in there and be approved by Mr. Larson, so we can move on with getting this qualification out.
Discussion, questions? Mr. Hadley.
Yes, thank you, Sheriff, for being here, and if Fairground can come up too tonight, I might have some questions.
Sure.
For Fairground. It was just brought to my attention tonight, I have not been able to look into it, on this design-built statute. Is it true that it does not take effect till the 1st of January of 2024?
No, it took effect, and you can ask Mr. Larson about this. It took effect January 2023.
Okay.
That's why these new parameters none of us knew about.
Okay then. So we're going to. So I believe our county administrator sent out an old form, and then there was a new one sent out today.
You mean the actual quote, the request for qualification?
Well, the one that I got, that I made a copy of, it's like 42 pages, that it had dates.
Yes.
Like the 22nd. So we're starting all over again.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, but we took out all the dates until we figure out where we're at after this approval.
Okay, so when I looked at the old dates, I was very uncomfortable with the old dates because it was within a less than a 30-day time frame. I would urge Sheriff and Fairgraham that we put out for a longer period so we're ability to get more vendors to bid on this, you know.
Mr. Hadley, with the compiled statutes that Mr. Larson was able to give to us, it will be a minimum of 35 days. And I think because of the weekend that the 35th day lies on, it might even be up to 37. So we will have ample time for everyone to see this. Plus, there's an extra part in that we did not know about. So there's an extra 14 days that are going to be added to that, our intent letter. You will get more than your 31 days. It'll be about 35.
I'm all for the project. I want to make it fair for everybody. I want to be good stewards with the taxpayers' money, so we're fair and getting, you know, I don't know how many companies are in the business of design and build these days roughly in the state of Illinois. Do you have a number?
I don't have a number for the state, but just here in Freeport, there's two that design build HVAC systems. And in Rockford, there's probably at least 4 full firms. Again, not to get in the weeds on the project, but it's a pretty simplistic project, and us and our team member Berners already did the evaluation of the county, and that is included in the packet. So they're not doing a complete evaluation of each one of the facilities. They're already getting the evaluation with the projects that we want to do. Most of the projects that we're doing here are equipment projects, equipment replacement, and or controls upgrade. So in the scheme of it, big dollars, but not complicated projects.
Well, so I noticed on here, and this is the old one, but maybe it's in the new one too, and I wanted to ask a question about that. It's just me. Okay, the sealed bids will be privately reviewed and graded by a committee predetermined by the Stephenson County Sheriff's Department. Do we know who's going to be sitting on that committee?
It will not be private. That was one of the new things that we just discovered. So it will be a public opening for even the design build. A suggestion by the state's attorney that we might as well do that, even though it will reveal nothing other than all of the bids that were submitted will be open.
Okay, then the board will be notified that we can attend the opening.
Yes, it'll be on the dates. We didn't put any dates because we didn't know how this was going to go. As soon as you get the dates, you'll have it.
Yeah, I apologize. I got the old one, and you know it said that we were going to approve somebody tonight. I thought so. Things have changed.
Yes, we're just approving the bid packet.
Yeah, I'm happy about that because I was kind of frustrated when I seen the old one. So I'm happy that we're going this direction. I know I've been doing a little research on this design build service. It's kind of new in the state. I will send our administrator a link to the pros and cons of doing this. You know, there's good things and bad things. And so that's all I have. Thank you.
I'll make a comment there. So one of the challenges with this project is with the ARPA funds, that is the majority of the funding. We're under very tight constraints with this project. There's very, very long lead times with equipment within the HVAC world, especially the kind of equipment we're talking about. And so in order to pull this project off in a time frame that would be reasonable to the county and the dollars that we need to expend, we felt that design build, which eliminates us as a firm of doing the work, is still the best choice for the county. I don't believe if you went to a standard design, put plans out, and had contractors bid on that contract, that you will get this project done in 2024. Just a design time frame for a firm like us to put plans together, and you also have that expense as well. But just to put that together would probably eclipse the time frame right now of 4 to 5 months. timeframes and backlogs and just having enough manpower to do that type of work. So we really formulated this scenario around the county's needs to get this project done and to use the funding that you have available to get it done.
If I could also add, just real briefly, in the discussions that we had with this, one concern that we had that we did not want to have to deal with was getting a bidder to come in with a really, really low bid that the county would just sit there and say, wow, it's so cheap, we've got to go with it, only to find throughout the project there would be change orders and significant change orders that would put them back equal to or above what the other bids were going to be. So this really is the most logical choice to move with this. Any other discussion? We do need to amend this motion. As it's written, if you're looking at it compared to what we're talking about right now. The motion on the floor is approval of qualified vendor for professional design build. We are not approving a vendor, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so Sheriff, would you help us on how that amendment should look?
Actually, sure, we spoke today.
I would recommend an amendment to indicate approval of RFQ for qualified vendor for professional design build services, and then kind of the rest as it says, with amendments as necessary to comply with the County Design Build Authorization Act. I get it's kind of a lot to remember.
I have one more question before we voted on that, please.
On the amendment?
I have one more question before we voted on that, please.
On the amendment?
No, after the amendments. Okay.
We'll come back to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other discussion on the amendment? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the amendment passes. Mr. Hadley on the original motion?
Yes. How are we going to get the information out there? There's a state law that we have to publish it in a local newspaper for. Has that changed?
Yeah, no, we will, due to the new statute requirements, we will be doing a notice of intent to have the project out for our RFQ. That will happen sometime at the beginning of January. That has to be out for 14 days. Then we'll issue the RFQ proposal request. That both of those will go in the paper. They'll also go on our Quest bidding site. They'll also go on the county website. That's one of the changes that needs to happen. And then that will be out for another 21 days. So intent purposes, the way our Quest site works is contractors sign up, especially for specialty products like general water main construction or HVAC construction. When we post those, they automatically get notified that those projects are out there. So that goes out all over the Midwest, and then people can download those plans or projects. They don't have to be in this area, and they're posted through our website or directly through the Quest website, and then we'll give that extension to the county as well. That is the typical process now by the state statute information that we got just this week.
Okay, thank you. I just have one request. Once we approve this, if we can have the new version with all the dates and everything sent to us when you gentlemen are done with it, so we can follow things.
Yes, as soon as we get the dates that we're going to put this out, then all the other dates will fall in place. We'll be able to get a complete copy to everybody immediately.
Okay, thank you, Sheriff.
Mr. Copley?
Yes, I was wondering, how is the bid opening and review going to take place?
We're going to do the bid opening right here at the courthouse on the last day that the bids can be submitted. Like I said, there's not going to be any information other than who submitted a bid, and then it's going to go back to Fair Graham so that you have 2 or 3 graders.
We had 3.
Three graders will go back and individually look at each one of these bids and put a grade to them, and then they would combine those grades and average them out and give us a list.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to say at that bid opening, there won't be price disclosures at that meeting. It'll just be a list of bidders that gave us packets at that, because those packets take hours to evaluate. They'll be very large books. We were asking for quite a bit of information from these contractors to prove that they're qualified for the work.
Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question on that.
Motion passes. Go ahead, Mr. Hart.
My question was before we took the vote on that. My question is when there's the bid opening, the initial bid opening, when you say the prices won't be disclosed, what prices are even included in that?
So, good question. There are no prices disclosed within the RFQ. So the RFQ asks for many items which really determine who's the most qualified contractor to pull the work off for the county. And then from that request, we'll rank a list of contractors in order. And then that contractor that's what we would consider our preferred contractor will get 30 days to schedule appointments and evaluate the actual physical work at the courthouse to come up with their complete scope to determine that price. And then phase 2 is them giving us a sealed price, and then us comparing that price to our budget prices to evaluate whether it's a fair price for the county. If it's not a fair price, or we don't feel that it fits the scope of the work that we have outlined, we can go to the second contractor of choice if there is one, or the third. We can keep going down the list until we feel that we have a qualified contractor at a price. That is the design build format through the state statute.
Does the state statute have a minimum requirement? I assume. A minimum score?
There is not a minimum score that's ranked by the individuals that rank it. So, for instance, in the proposal end, there's 5 qualifications that are ranked at a 100-point system. Each one of them is ranked within that packet. And then on the final price, there'll be 4 or 5 qualities that will be ranked. By the state statute, price can't be more than 30% of the 100% on the phase 2.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Question is what if you have two proposals that are, after being graded, are the same? Do they both get to submit a bid with now a second bid with the price now? If
they're ranked equally in score, yes.
Okay.
Right, they'll both have to have the evaluation period, which talking with sheriff is a very very labored process due to the courthouse and the jail. So we have to be very cognizant of the buildings we're working in for this specific project.
Anything else, Mr. Copeland, on your committee?
No, Chairman.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, appreciate it. Mr. Jogers, administration, it looks like you do have an action item tonight.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. We've got one item here. It's an approval of amendment to the personnel policy, section 504B. That came to the administration committee from the county administrator, and that is in relationship to the Paid Leave for All Workers Act. There was a current policy in your packet, and then there's also proposed changes to that policy. ICRMT had Ms. Jane May at IFMK review our current policy. She sent back a recommendation which was to include all employees that contain a prorate equivalent of 1 hour vacation per 40 hours work. And that, if we pass this and get this in place prior to January 1st, 2024, the county will then be in compliance with this Paid Leave Workers Act. So with that, I will make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Modero. Any discussion? Mr. Hart?
No, I don't have
Thank you. Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Anything else out of your committee?
I think that's all right now. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to court services. Mr. Bush.
Yes, approval of participating in the Freeport OVW grant. What this is a grant to improve criminal justice response It's working with also agencies like Voices to help employ full-time victim advocate, and then salary for the prosecutor and state's attorney office. The goal of this grant is to help reduce the domestic violence and sexual assaults, dating violence, and stalking case. So with that, I so move.
Thank you. Is there a second? Mr. Jokers, any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please take roll on this.
Ronnie Bush.
Aye.
Samuel Newton.
Aye.
Luann Hayes.
Aye.
William Hadley.
Yes.
Jim Hart.
Aye.
Kurt Copeland.
Aye.
Adam Mottering.
Aye.
Larry Jokers.
Aye.
Scott Helms.
Aye.
Jackie DeMeester.
No.
Nicole Baker.
Aye.
Ryan Graham.
Aye.
Tim Whalen.
Yes, ma'am.
12A, 1 nay. Motion carries.
All right, thank you very much. Any other information out of your committee, Mr. Bush?
No, but Merry Christmas.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to planning and development, Mr. Hart, there are no action items. Do you have any information out of that committee?
No info out of our committee, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you very much. Move on to public works, Mr. Brandt. We took care of your action items. I'm sorry, Miss Baker. I apologize. No action items, Mrs. Baker. Any information out of your committee?
Yes, so the hiring committee interviewed a candidate for the permanent administrative position. The hiring committee decided not to bring that candidate forward to the committee. There is another candidate, but that person did withdraw. There is one more candidate. She wished to do a tour of the facility before being interviewed. That did place this morning. Ms. Newcomer followed up with her via email to set up a interview with the scheduling or with the hiring committee. So hopefully we have something coming up next month. Census are at 37. Our new interim administrator started on Monday, and Ivy's last day is on Tuesday, the 31st.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now we will move on to public works and Mr. Brandt. Any information on your committee?
Planning and development.
We already did planning and development.
I'm sorry. No, nothing else from public works. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Public comment. Is there anyone that would like to speak? Okay, seeing none, we have no new business. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second by Ms. Hayes. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.